From the News Channel 5 Network and Out and About Nashville, this is Out and About Today. Sponsored by the Tennessee Performing Arts Center.
Welcome to Out and About Today. I'm Brent Meredith. We've got another big and eclectic lineup for you tonight. In the Entertainment Outlook, Chuck has a preview of Nashville in Harmony's highly anticipated holiday concert. Then Pam visits with the founder of BuyTN, an organization serving communities of all sexes and genders right here in Tennessee. But first, I'm leading us in another hot topic buzz about, and I'm joined by Chuck and special guests Zach Woodard and Don Schlosser. Welcome, guys. Good to see you.
Hi. Great to be here.
So do we need to talk about the obvious lack of Pam in the room?
Where's Pam? She's on a conference, but she's got a segment coming up. So
she does have a segment coming up. She's out of town today, or for taping, but she'll be back, not to fear. And then I wanted to make sure I said this before too, because this is a November show, so we know the elections are happening this month. We're not skipping over them. We just are pre-taping, so we can't really talk about it until December, which probably is for the best, because we're all probably pretty fed up. Yeah. That said, I do have one topic that kind of is election adjacent, and I'm sure you guys, did you see the flyer that went around to the gay bars? Okay, everybody's already definitely got opinions on this. So I think we've got a picture we're going to show. So there's the front, LGBT reimagined, liberty, guns, beer, and Trump. And then on the back, return to sender, and then the address that's blacked out. It went to one of the, I think that went to one of the gay bars there, and then the MAGA return address there, which actually goes to a empty parking lot, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, is the return address. So you guys obviously have something to say. You saw this. What was your initial reaction, Don?
It's just amazing that the rhetoric has become so divisive and so fierce and vicious. And it's striking local now. It's not just D.C., but it's coming right down to home, where our own our places where we feel comfortable, where we can gather together as a community and express ourselves, where those places here are being targeted. And we do feel like targets.
And it's been so long, in a sense, not really that long, but a while, I think, for some of the younger generation to not seen this before. I mean, what is your reaction, Zach?
My first reaction was like, why? You know what I mean? Because you went through so much effort and negativity to send that out to the biggest thing to me is a lot of people my age especially go there because that's where we feel comfortable. That's the one place we can go. And now the place that people call home a lot of times, they're like, well, now we can't even go there because they're targeting us there too. Where do we go now? What do we do?
I know that, and there's been some other instances. I think there was an instance at Play where somebody came in and was macing some people. That happened this last month. So I mean, it just an increase. I mean, Chuck, you look like you got something to say. I want to get to you.
Well, the saddest thing about it to me is the fact that I think a lot of people were starting to feel comfortable, and it's almost like, as you were mentioning, that's where you go to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to see your friends. Is it right as we got into that mode, suddenly it's like, oh, don't get too safe, don't get too comfortable, so we're going to put the fear in you again. I mean, so it all comes back because I think their fear, the people that are sending this, they're fearing that they're being taken over. So just because we're being accepted.
In some way, because these bars haven't existed for decades.
I'm about to say, also, this is the first time that I've even felt it on a local scale.
Well, see, that's the point I was trying to make earlier, was that you're a little younger than us, and maybe you haven't experienced this or seen this or seen the vandalism that's happened in the past.
Even when Trump took presidency, I'm like, that doesn't really affect me that much. It's more of a big national issue. This is the first time that I felt something super local and close to home, and I'm like, ooh.
Well, and here's an interesting point that I didn't really put this together when I first saw the image, but one of the quotes from one of the bar owners says, when you put a picture of an assault rifle on there which was used in the Pulse shooting, and you mail it to every bar in Nashville, this is coming from a hateful place. I mean, I didn't even put that together at first, but when you think about that, did you guys notice that, or did that jump out at you like, oh, that's the same gun that was used in Pulse?
When I read the article, I saw that, and I was just like, what are they trying to say?
Yeah, what's the message?
Are they saying they're going to come in here with guns? Are they why? Why?
I know.
But our journey over the past few years has been this back and forth of real successes, marriage equality, and some things that have happened legislatively during the Obama era, and then tragedies like the Pulse shooting and things. So we're just constantly reminded that as we make progress, there's going to be reactionary backlash to that, and that our work is just as important now as it ever has been.
And thank you for saying that, because that is such a valid point. Whenever you used to feel frustrated or let down, there's always a fight. There's always a fight to be had. Anything else on that topic?
Well, I was just going to say, to piggyback on what Don was saying, was when marriage equality, came into being, they said, oh, this is great, but don't celebrate too fast, because you're still going to have the struggles, as we've seen. Now we've got a discrimination in the workplace. All of these issues, they're still being threatened, or we're still having to fight for them.
Yeah, the pendulum it doesn't seem to swing back and forth. It seems like it's doing a circle now.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I wanted to try to find a positive topic, or an uplifting topic to go along with this month, because there's so much negative.
Yeah.
It took me a minute to find that. Make no mistake, but I was able to find one that I thought was just really interesting. So I know I shared the link with you guys, so you probably had a chance to look at it. But we've got some pictures here too. We'll show. So this little boy here, he loves to paint his nails, and you know, he's 5 years old, and he loves to paint his nails. And his dad says, you know, he also likes to hunt and fish and do all the things and play with trucks and all the things that little boys do. But he painted his nails, and he went to kindergarten. Okay, he went to kindergarten and then felt, well, he loves to carry his stuff around in purses too. He has a lot of things.
He
said
is
he likes.
the cutest.
Isn't he adorable?
He is.
I mean, he's 5, right?
Yeah.
And he goes to kindergarten. There he is with his fish. I mean, so he's clearly, you know, got interest everywhere, as 5-year-olds do.
Yeah.
But he goes to kindergarten and gets bullied by the kids that make fun of him. And he comes home just tore up over this. And so his dad, as you saw there in the first picture, painted his nails in solidarity with him. He posted a nice long rant on Twitter, and people jumped in as support. I mean, what did you guys think when you first saw this? Did it bring back memories of potential bullying or things that had happened to you? Or?
Absolutely. I mean, and I remember growing up too, when you grew up in small town Texas, it was almost like, and of course, and again, I knew I was gay, but of course you hide that, and especially when I was growing up in small town Texas. But it reminded me over and over, it was like you couldn't even show any of that. You had to keep it. And just one thing I thought was amazing was when his dad said, I think gender norms are a problem for everyone, and while we're empowering girls to do and be anything, which is great, the same doesn't hold true for boys. He speaks out to that change, and I think, and you have to, because that's the perfect example.
Exactly, and I mean, I think he used the phrase toxic masculinity, which I think is it's got an interesting connotation to it. But do you guys agree with that phrasing, Don? What do you think?
Yeah, I do, because I mean, the first thing you think about when you think about boys coloring their nails would be the fact that they're gay and they're expressing that, but this isn't that at all.
Right.
It's just the fact that he's being gender fluid or gender non-conforming, I guess is the best way to say it. And at that age, he should be able to be to express himself in whatever way, and as he explores his own gender and what gender identities are. But I think all of us have suffered from that idea of not being adequate and not being enough because we didn't know about cars, because we didn't know about sports, or because we didn't know about the things that boys did and that men should
Exactly. And you're shaking your head there, Zach. What was your experience?
Like that quote from him by saying that, like, we encourage all of these women to do all of these things, which is fantastic, like with the Me Too movement, and like CMT is doing all female country now, and like I'm like, why are they not supporting boys in the same?
Yeah.
Because I get the whole aspect of support the women to do this, but also why can boys not paint their fingernails if they want to?
And I hate to end on that note, but I also love ending on that note. Why can't we paint our fingernails if we want to?
I'm going home and paint my nails with glitter.
Right.
No, thank you guys. So after the break, Chuck and Don are going to come back with all the details on Nashville in Harmony's holiday concert. Stay with us.